Hello, beautiful souls. How are you guys doing today? Um, I just wanted to come on here, and today is Father's Day. So, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, or even who has to be in that father role. Um, to your children, grandchildren, or just in general in that father role. You can be a father role, but it doesn't matter whatever age. So, happy Father's Day to you guys, or to you women, the women who maybe have to play both, the mother and the father. But happy Father's Day to you. But most of all, you know what? Say happy Father's Day to the Most High, because one thing that I've found out on the spiritual journey is that we are never alone. Even when you may not have anybody around you, or if God has put you in isolation, or you may not have no friends, or you're just alone, or even when you're going through something that could be really hard, I promise you, the one thing that I have learned the spiritual journey is that we do not walk alone. And even sometimes you may get upset and you're like, God, why am I going through this right now? Believe me, God does certain things. Even when you're angry, you think, God, do you not love me right now? He loves you, because there's always a lesson, or there's a blessing, or there's some form of protection, or there's just something that God's telling you that you're not seeing the whole picture right now. Say if whatever situation you're in, say if you're maybe, I don't know, trying to go to another level. Maybe God is wanting you to see something first before you go to that next level. But always give praise to Him, because God shows us every day that He loves us. Even, God will even show us signs, even sometimes when we don't ask for signs. He shows us every day that He loves us. And one way that He shows that is that the sun comes up. Because there's a lot of people who was not promised tomorrow or promised today. Because you still have a purpose. If you woke up today, you still have a purpose in this world. Even if you have not found it yet, I promise you, you still have a purpose. So give God praise. Tell Him you love Him. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to go out here and do something crazy, because He hears everything. He sees everything that you do. Even when you show love, true, genuine love to someone else, or if you show forgiveness, or even being obedient, that's a form of you showing God that He is so important to you. And not only that, is that God created you, and a part of Him is in you. You understand what I'm saying? So always give praise. I know we come to God and we're always needing stuff. You know, don't always, go to God when times are hard, or, I always just want to tell Him how grateful I am, how I know He's not there. Now that if I'm going through something, I know that God is there. And even one thing that I know that I've learned also too, that God and Jesus love, they love when you sing. You know, sometimes out of the blue I'll sing a gospel song. It doesn't have to be gospel. It's just, there's some people out there, some of you guys, your voice, there's an energy in your voice. Something about when you sing, it transmute energy as well. For that one is for somebody, because I wasn't even randomly thinking about that, and that just popped in my head. But give thanks and let God know on how much you love Him. Not just when He blesses you, because God knows your true intentions. Remember that. Even if sometimes you may not agree with God. And I'll tell you this, and one thing that I shared the other day is that, you may tell God your plans, but He'll listen to what plans you tell Him you may have, but those not how the plans really work. God has His own plans. God has His own timing, and please believe me, The plans may not go the way, or it may take longer. There's a reason for that. There is a reason for things that you did not see or you did not know. Because we'll go back, you can go back and look and be like, oh God, I understand why you had me sit there that long, because I get it now. You know, also to always pay attention to your thoughts. Not only that, the random thoughts that you're having, some of you guys, you're picking up other people's thoughts. But pay attention. Pay attention to your environment. Pay attention to the birds. Pay attention to the birds. You guys, the other day, I was outside grounding, and I got emotional, and it's crazy because God always gives you the signs, and birds are so important. You know, I shared on my old channel that I was a story where I was outside with my grandchildren, and I was, finding out about one of my Soul Tribe members was going through it. And, and I've had to watch her go through it. And, and I pray for her quite a bit. And she's really strong and gifted. And as I was sitting out there, I ended up seeing a white dove that goes across. And I look up the meaning of white dove, and it's divine intervention. It's all divine. Divine, you could think that, God, can you see what's happening to me? God, do you see all these people, if they may be attacking you or whatever? God sees it all. He's aware about everything. And sometimes God has to have you go through things, because I can look at situations now that's from my past that was really bad that I had to go through. But I've learned that if I can get through, if I've made it through certain things, then, it makes you stronger. It makes you grateful for those lessons that you went through, because you learned something from them. So God is very creative. He is aware of everything. So I just come on here today is not just because today's Father's Day, okay, the time to give that. No, let's give thanks and praise to Father every day, even when you first wake up. It doesn't have to be fancy. For some reason, I'm hearing, some people may be intimidated on the way you even praise God, but it's the simplest things. I love coming across people's channels or maybe videos where people are making it so simple nowadays, because I'm not fancy in my words. I may stumble even sometimes on my words, but it's very simple. Even if just by you saying, God, I love you. Just simple as that. He hears every time. He hears every time. Not only that, give the angels, tell him you love him. Jesus, you love him. The universe, love. And I've talked about this before. Could you imagine a world without any love? It would be hell. It would be hell times a million. Multi-million. So be thankful for God, because whatever you're going through, I promise you, it is meant to happen. Remember that if something that you're going through is happening, and just you really, and this is what makes it so wonderful when you open up your life to God and you invite him in, because he puts a peace over your heart, because God is an energy source too, where you're like, okay, if this is happening, I know it's supposed to happen this way. I know, God, that it's supposed to happen this way, and you give faith to him for him to work it out or to find a way, because from what I've seen in my past, that God finds ways where you're like, God, how did you find that way? He makes things happen out of the most impossible situations. Because, you got to raise that vibration up, and I just want to give a little message to you to don't forget about the Father. Don't forget about your Creator, the one who loves you and the one who never and will never walk away from you to whatever you're going through, even if you're so lost in the dark. Because one thing that I've learned, the people who's been through the darkest, that's where you find the light. That's where you find the light. So just don't forget about him. Don't forget about Jesus, King of all kings, because they love you. And I promise you, for somebody out there who's going through it, I don't know what you're going through, but if you're all alone, I promise you, you are not alone. You're not alone. You may not see it. But if you open your heart, you can feel it. I promise you. I love you guys. 333, all journey long. Mwah.